What's up, guys, and welcome to the video. And today I've got a very special interview with one of my mentors, for say. It's got a very interesting mindset when it comes to crypto, fitness, and a very interesting story that I don't think a lot of people know. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Kyle, bro. I'm happy to have you.
Hey man, thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. So tell me about your story. How did you get into crypto and what brings you here today?
Yeah, I mean, in 2012, it was brought to my attention through Silk Road. Like most people who were in early, may or may not say this, but just because they're afraid of the stigma. But I think everybody who was on the internet back then knew about Silk Road. At least in one respect or another. And when I found out about it, I was just very fascinated with it in general, right? It wasn't just Bitcoin. It wasn't just the fact that there was this like eBay for all kinds of illicit activities. It was the whole thing operating together, and it blew my mind that like this is that like I just couldn't believe that this was actually happening. And so I was fascinated by it. That's what led me down to learn more about Bitcoin. But it wasn't until 2013 that I really understood it by reading the Bitcoin white paper and diving into it. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And then I've been in full-time, ever since. And in 2013, I started thinking about how can I do something with Bitcoin? And so I started building as a hobby, a Bitcoin lottery. And it's like the same kind of lottery that you would see in any other kind of big country or states where, there's these balls picked randomly from a machine and you could pick your own tickets or whatever. And so that was done in Bitcoin. And that was kind of the first time I started building in crypto.
That's crazy because I remember that lottery was on Facebook, right? I seen it's like a picture of it.
Yeah. So I saw the Facebook account still there. For some reason, I was posting the videos on YouTube back in the day too. They all got removed. Probably when YouTube went through that crazy banning of all crypto content last. I forget what year that went.
Was it last?
Yeah, last cycle. Yeah, because all the scams and stuff. So I think they took down all the videos, but I still have the videos on hard drives and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a fun project.
That's interesting, bro, because at those times, crypto wasn't like what it was now. A lot of people, everybody knows about crypto. Everybody knows somebody that's invested into it. There's thousands of projects out there. But when you was getting invested in crypto, it was kind of like one of those ones where it's kind of like you had to prove people wrong. Right? Everybody's like, let me show you that this is the way to go. Let me show you that this is the way to get rich.
Yeah, I think in 2016 or something, one of my good friends for my birthday bought me a T-shirt. It says, "You should have listened to me," and had a big Bitcoin on it because I was an evangelist. Like all from like 2013, I was telling everybody, friends, family, buy Bitcoin, and most people didn't want to hear it. They thought I was crazy. And it took a long time. But my mom was still way earlier than most people that were watching this. My mom was converted her Roth IRA, her retirement account, into Bitcoin in 2015. Yeah. So it took me a few years to convince her, but she did. She listened to me with that. And then my dad still has, from as far as I know, he just has half a Bitcoin that I gave him, and can try to convince him to get the other half. Like now, hurry up and buy now because fuck, you're gonna be real happy you did.
Yeah, literally, man. I bet your mom thanks you a lot for that trade, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she sometimes forgets how much Bitcoin she has, and then she goes back and looks at it, and then gets surprised at how much it's worth now. And she just, she knows that that's her secure retirement. So she's worked as a doctor or a chiropractor her whole life, and she's always planned on taking care of herself financially until retirement. But now it's nice because she still has that kind of mindset. She's been able to reduce her work, and she just loves what she does. But she knows that kind of the Bitcoin is like, it's going to be the thing that spoils her, in the years where she gets, now essentially, right? So it's been really great for her. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it was retirement account was around $50,000 that she put into Bitcoin in 2015, and I think that's upward of 7 figures now or something. So yeah, that's been big for her.
That's amazing. That's probably one of the best sons out there, no doubt.
Yeah, it's it's good. And then there was a time, I think it was maybe it was, wow, what year was it? There was a Bitcoin developer called Mike Hearn, and he was one of the core developers. He was also kind of one of the public figures at the time that was really speaking out about Bitcoin and like evangelizing it. And I remember at some point, maybe it was 2015 or 16 or something, or I don't know, I don't remember. But at one point he wrote a blog post and he said, Bitcoin is dead. I'm selling all mine. You should too. It's a failed experiment. I remember it went from like, yeah, near $1,000 to like $180, right? And I was in California at the time, and I went to both my parents and I said, you guys have to buy every fucking thing you can right now. Like put all your, and then, no, this is before, so this must have been before my mom got in, because I was trying to convince them both that they didn't want to do it, but anyway, yeah. So, it's been a long time, it's been a long time to watch Bitcoin evolve the way that it has. Back in the day, especially when I was doing the lottery and stuff, I was really excited. I got like really excited whenever I would hear Bitcoin on a radio, if a TV ever mentioned it, whatever, it was like, wow, like that was in some sort of media, and now it's every single day, which is crazy to see. And I was pretty convinced back in the day that it would become, a world reserve currency. And today I'm 100% convinced.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. After the journey especially that you've seen crypto go through, going from a position of this is something that we have to believe in, this is the future, trying to convince your parents to do so. And now it seems like, people call it lucky, people can say what they want to, but the truth is that crypto is here to stay. So yeah. One interesting question I've got, especially with this the cycle that you've been through, what are the common mistakes that you see normal people make that are new to crypto every single cycle? Because it must be, clearly people are going through the same loops, the same cycles.
I think that people get, once they, a lot of people sit on the sidelines and decide, do I want to get involved in the space or not? And once they decide, yes, I want to get involved, the first thing that people usually end up doing is they usually end up treating the markets like the stock market, right? And so, usually the first step in is everybody comes in and they think, and they treat it like a stock market. So they're trading, and they come in the market and they start trading and they think it's like a stock. And that's a big mistake, because you can't value a token the same way you would value a stock. They don't correlate, and so, if you're just doing technical analysis and you happen to be good at it, which if you're watching this and you haven't gone down that path yet, just know that most people lose money, and it takes, 5+ years to be really, really good at trading to where typically you're making money. So, so it's dangerous, for people to come in, they'll start watching YouTube videos, follow some influencer, start leverage trading or something. And, you're going to get wrecked doing that. And so it harms a lot of people. You should start with fundamentals. What is Bitcoin? What is decentralization? And if you go to altcoins, what is an altcoin? Why does it exist? What is how do token economics work? How does game theory work? What is an economy? Because, high level, when a token is minted, it should mimic an economy. It is an economy. So people are minting a token, and that economy should be similar, treated in a similar fashion to, a national economy. So you have things like taxation, governance, monetary fiscal policy, and then you should have intelligent, sophisticated people who monitor the token over time and continue to adjust as needed, because things happen, and if you would have had sophisticated people looking at things like token, like Axie Infinity, maybe they would have seen 6 months in advance that the model that they were using wasn't sustainable, they maybe could have adjusted ahead of time and prevented a catastrophic failure. And maybe they still would have been top of the game or something, you know? And so I think the biggest mistake is people come in and treat it like a stock market, you know, and don't take time to learn what the space is about and what these tokens do and things like that.
Well, you make a very good point there, because in any way of shape or form of actually making money or being a successful entrepreneur, the baseline foundation is education. And a lot of people don't educate themselves on the industry. They're not looking at things as an economy. And for those people that aren't keeping up here, you've got to look at it like the token supports the ecosystem. So people actually need to use the token. And when you do it like that, like you said, right, they can make forecasts on it, and they can say, okay, you know, in the next 3 to 5 years, at this rate of growth, going on whatever university study or theories that they want to calculate growth by, they can actually see ahead of time that it is or it isn't going to work. That's why Bitcoin works, because you could see ahead of time in 2013, 2014, hold on a second, at this growth rate, if this works for so long, this is going to be something that everybody's going to have to use. So I can definitely relate to that and understand that.
I mean, right now we still have quite illogical or irrational markets, right? I mean, depending on when someone's watching this, we had WorldCoin launch, I think yesterday or maybe 36 hours ago, and valued at $30 billion, $27 billion, right? And there's just no fucking way that you would value a normal company in that type of scale. And anyone who's buying WorldCoin right now has to understand that there is, you know, 100 million tokens out of 10 billion circulating. So I think that's, you know, what is that, 1% of the supply or something? And so people have to understand that, you know, you're going to have a tremendous amount of inflation coming into the markets. A huge amount of emissions coming, and that's really going to, you know, cause a lot of new tokens, and the demand really won't be there. So people don't understand. I mean, someone's going to think like Sam Altman, right, from OpenAI, and so therefore I should definitely buy this thing, right?
Yeah.
But that's dangerous. That's a noob mistake, right? Coming in and buying WorldCoin at a $27 billion valuation is probably a mistake, and probably a mistake that a lot of newbies will make, because it's OpenAI ChatGPT founder. They're like, oh, this is going to moon. It's already at the moon, man. Like, you don't buy tokens when they're at the moon. You got to buy them, you know, when there's still atmosphere.
Yeah, well, that's a good point that you make, right? Also about getting in early. So let's say somebody does find a crypto token, right? You've already said, make sure that it's got an economy around it. Make sure that the token's got some type of use case. You know, check the valuation so you can see, okay, you know, this actually has area for growth to buy it, right? How can somebody find these types of tokens?
Sorry, the question was, how can they find a good opportunity?
Yeah, how can they find? Because this is the thing. A lot of people do want to take some type of shortcut, right? So from your experience, how could people find crypto tokens that have a good economy, they have a good use case, and, you know, they still have an area for growth before it gets to the point where, you know, it's already out of the moon?
Yes, I mean, it's a good question that people should understand. You know, it's interesting, and it depends on what somebody's time horizon is. You know, if you're like me, you know, you don't like to, you know, flip in and out of projects very quickly. I like to look at fundamentals and say, here's where I'm parking my capital, my assets, and I'm just placing it in this thing. And I think that in 5-7 years, this could 1000x. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you look at something like, you know, like for example, like ShopX, right? Something that a lot of people give me shit for today. I'm pretty sure.
I'll still thank you for ShopX, Carol, bro. Thank you for that one.
So, you know, like I keep in touch with Cyrus, and I know that they're building, and I know that it's a very low valuation right now. And while most people will say it's a failed project or it sucks because it hasn't skyrocketed yet, I like to look at fundamentals. Now, I'm not saying that your audience should do what I do, because I've got patience. I'm playing a long game. A lot of people don't have, especially younger generations, don't have that patience to play long game. They watch TikTok and get, just scroll through a 3-second video, and like, it's mind blowing the attention span of younger. So my strategy is for people that don't want to have so much stress or anxiety and stick by and watch CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko all day long and get, have a price difference of a few percent up or down affect the mood of the day, right? It's better to have, my opinion, long-term conviction. You know how many times I've talked to people who mined Bitcoin in 2010 or bought 10,000 of them in 2010, and then, for $1 or whatever, and then sold them at $1.30 and were super excited because they made 30% profit. They thought they were geniuses, and like looking back, I mean, okay, making 30% on a trade, that's good, right? But when you didn't hold on for something that you could have had, because these people don't have conviction when you come in, right? It's, I think, one of the most important things you can do is look at something, understand it thoroughly, and try to have conviction, right? I'd rather go to a 0 on investments and, then have them be stressed and try to come in and make 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% profits, coming in and out of things. To me, that takes a lot of time, effort, and you get one project that does, a 200, 300, 400, and they will, if you find these amazing projects that are building really good technology and you look and their token makes sense and the token is necessary in the product they're building, it is going to be decentralized. It needs a token, and the token value would be correlated with growth and success of that application or that layer 1 or layer 2, whatever. This is how you can do phenomenal, life-changing, face-melting returns that would make up for anything else that went to 0. And so, understanding the use of the token in an ecosystem, and, there are tools out there too, like Ivan's product, Morales Money. He's building something really, I think, specifically what you're talking about for like short-term gem hunters. This is a really good product. But another way too is to kind of look around, watch AMAs, find founders that you like. And in a bear market, if like right now, if you were just a community member that had some money to invest and you probably reached out in the ShopX group or something and you pinged Cyrus directly and said, hey, I'm a retail investor. I think what you're doing is really cool. I'd love to know more. We've got more time in a bear market to have open discussions with people who are interested in our project, right? I bet you Cyrus would take a call with a random retail investor right now, just who's interested in this project. And in a bull market, when things are going really well, you don't have access like this to founders. But in these times, you do. And you can reach out and you can have a chat and you can say, who is this guy? Like size him up. So, if I put my money in your token, are you going to let me down or not? Like, look at, and try to understand what the founder's motivation is. Another thing I used to do a lot too was understand, why is a founder creating this project? Are they doing it because they truly believe what they're building will disrupt some sort of legacy system, right? Like a Web3 company or project should disrupt a legacy thing, right? Usually it's going to be better than some incumbent. And so if someone's like, hey, I'm building this because I know the world needs it. I know the thing that we're disrupting is super efficient and this is going to make everyone's life more easy and better. If that's the motivation for someone to build something, then that gets me really excited. If someone's like, yeah, I think this thing's going to make everyone super rich, like those guys are probably going to walk away the second things get hard, And so, yeah.
100%. It's very interesting, that a few things that you mentioned, right? Different times are different opportunities. There's been multiple times within a BTC cycle where there's been opportunities, but traders, people that go in and out and chase the money, tend to actually lose in the long run. The next thing is, disrupting. We want to invest into, your perspective of investing into disruptive technology is very interesting. Because I haven't thought of it in that light, right? I haven't thought of it in terms of looking at a CEO and thinking, okay, you might want to make money, that's great. But what are you actually here for? What's your mission? What's your goals? What's your purpose? Because when we are investing into crypto projects, we are investing into the founders purpose and goals. And if they're going to stick with something, it's more likely that they're going to be able to stick with a mission than sticking with the money, because we already know every 4 years times are going to get tough. But if somebody is focused on this mission, on this goal of disrupting the world and changing the way that we actually work day to day and making the world a better place, then it's better to invest into those types of companies, because they're the ones that are going to do the 1,000x's, the 500x's long term anyway. A very, very good point.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up shortly, because I know it's been a while. But I want to ask you some newbie questions for all the crypto noobs out there, and ask you the questions that you probably get asked 100 times. So the first question is, for somebody brand new who only has $5,000, where should they invest their money? But let me rephrase that, because that might get legally binding, right? If you went back to only having $5,000 right now, where would you put your money?
Yeah. So the question is obviously it goes without saying, this is not financial advice, and this is a scenario. So let's assume that you had $5,000 of cash that you didn't need to survive, right? Because I think that if it's really, really, really silly and very irresponsible if you only had $5,000 to your name and you needed that to pay rent and food, like housing and shelter, right, and food, like that would be irresponsible to go gamble that in the market, because we don't know. Even though I'm super bullish, and even though I'm personally nearly 100% in crypto right now, other things are like real estate, it would be very irresponsible if you needed this money. But if you had $5,000 of money that you didn't need in the near future, I think that what I would do right now is I would look, start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then start learning too about how, following some of these KOLs and things like that are talking about altcoins, but don't take their word for it. Looking for really good opportunities to invest into, because in a bull market, you're going to have Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to do really well, but the altcoins are going to outperform them, where Bitcoin and Ethereum might do between 3 to 15, 20x maybe, in the next bull run at the most. Altcoins might do 20 to 100 or 200x, and so you have more potential there. Looking for trends is important. Seeing what is a trend, and just really learning, and then so for me, I've got a basket of altcoins that I like a lot, and I'm pretty. I would say I would take the $2,500 Bitcoin, Ethereum, dollar cost averaging in, and then the other $2,500 I would probably look at. Right now, what I would do is I would stick in the blue chip alts. So look at things that are like Solana or Near. I would also look at what has been around for a while that is still popular. Right, like Solana is a good one. It's down a lot. I don't personally. I think that the tech has a lot to go, but I think that the community is super strong. Look at things that are down right now today from all-time high. 80 to 95%, but also think projects that have a close circulating market cap to their fully diluted valuation. Because then that there's no more big investor dumps into the market. There's not a lot of inflation coming. That what is out there is already the market, which means that, that you're not going to have a lot of inflation to deal with, which means that you're not going to have a lot of sell pressure. So that's probably what I would do. And then have a responsible exit plan, because it is very easy to get super inebriated in a bull market. Everyone's just high and drunk and having fun, and just money is so easy. And you just, you make some money, you reinvest it, and you're like, this is going to go on forever. And, 2017, you got, 16-year-olds buying Lambos, and just life is great. And then one day it all ends, and you didn't sell anything, you didn't put any money on the side, and that's all down 90+%, 95%, 99% in some cases. And so learn from all these veteran mistakes that we've all done, and have some sort of plan to, when that $5,000 turns into $15,000, take out your initial $5,000 and put that aside, and then you have, now you got 10,000. When that 10,000 turns into, 30, 40,000, take out another, half of that and something like that. And that way, because and always try to understand that the market psychology is the way it is. It's very tempting to watch the market increase and go like, man, I shouldn't have sold. I should have stayed in longer. Look, I could have made all this more money, but you're never going to call the top and you're never going to call the bottom. So prepare on the way up and make sure you have a plan in place, because it should be a logical, rational plan that allows, and you follow that, because when you're having a hell of a time, it's very easy to forget principles and get carried away.
100%. Failing to plan, planning to fail. Every single time. So the last question is, what are the top 3 Twitter accounts that you follow for alpha?
Man,
I know every single time I follow somebody, you're following them. So I know I'm on the right track. I'll try to in the loop.
But it's been such a long time, because we've been in, I would say that if, maybe I could have told you a while back, but a lot of the people that I followed before stopped, they got, because the problem is as an influencer, KOL, when you make calls and they don't go well, you get reamed. People talk shit or whatever. A lot of the people I used to follow, they become very conservative. They now talk more about news and not trying to do calls. And then also, I'm not surfing around crypto Twitter, or what is it called today? CX, how do you call it these days? I'm not browsing around there so much anymore, because I've been building. So I'm in a different state. So, we built paid network before, but now we've got paid, 2.0 coming out soon, that we've been building like crazy. You have Commonwealth, Fluid, Alethea. So these projects that Master Ventures is building in our studio, and I'm busy building. Like people might think that's in a bear market, you're just chilling, waiting for the bull market. But we've been building. So I'm not on crypto Twitter very much. I'm not the best person to ask. And I don't like TA because I'm not trading. So a lot of people that do find value in the best TA guys, it's not interesting for me either. I do have a little bit of I would say there's of course some degen in me from a personal side. Not like I'm very responsible with our LPs money and stuff, but when it comes to my own personal capital, I love looking for, founders who do like fair launches or something, and they have a product, and like the chances of them making it are quite small. It's it's less than 10%, but more likely less than a few percent that they're actually going to become big one day. But I like to put money in some of these guys, and so I like to find some of the guys that are like Era Crypto Man or something. Like he's kind of like me, looking for, we're all hoping these small Web3 true decentralized kind of dev teams actually do something amazing. And so I think that's I like finding projects like that and then parking some capital into that and hoping that, because they're building, a lot of these guys are coming out not raising a bunch of money from VCs. Like Colt DAO, for example, like they just launched their ZK EVM. It's amazing. Like every other ZK EVM has, hundreds of millions of dollars of VC capital holding tokens ready to dump on the market. Colt DAO, they launched their token, did a fair launch. Now they built some really cool utility. And now they have a ZK EVM they just built with zero VC money, right? It's using the Colt token. And it's this layer 1 with no stuff. They already have fully circulating supply. So that layer 1 is going to be using the Colt token. I think that's amazing, right? So I'm still very bullish on that. I like to find these kind of gems in my personal time. And I do talk about them too. But if I think a founder is amazing and genuine, I'll talk about it.
That's amazing. Okay. And in terms of some of the projects that you mentioned, right? Paid network, we all know about that. Paid network got me to this position. I was just spamming into all the private sales on paid network like many other people. Then we have Fluid. We already know Fluid's changing the game. That's coming out next. And you mentioned one more, right? Commonwealth. So this was a new one to I would call this the Kyle mission. Every single time you've said, do this, I'm doing this, it's just worked. And this is the new one. So tell me a little bit more about Commonwealth.
Okay, yeah, Commonwealth is it's really cool. It's one of the things that blockchain is supposed to be about, democratization, opening up access to people. And since blockchain has been created, and even regulators don't really want to change the game. They don't want to, open up access to early stage investments to, non-accredited investors, for example, in the States. And it's just really, really difficult for your everyday person, everyone watching this. I was explaining it earlier to someone at a cafe. What's his name? Trader Wojak. And I was just like, look at every single person in this entire cafe right now. None of them have access to private and early stage, sales, private and early stage seed sales in the crypto space, which is some of the best opportunities in the world, and even if they happen to do it, they would have no way to do due diligence or know if something's good or not. Having this, an opportunity to invest in a great project at an early round is like a money printer. These things will, it's amazing. And historically, only VCs have been privileged enough to do it, and so we wanted to really build a fully decentralized, autonomous protocol that could run itself, that was fully autonomous, decentralized, that was a fund structure, so similar to an A16Z or Sequoia or whatever, where traditional style funds are launched on chain. Anybody can invest into that with stablecoin. As little as $5 or $10 could get you minimum investment. And then it's stablecoin out. So these people don't have to think about managing their tokens, when to sell. You put stablecoin in, you get stablecoin out. Hopefully it's more than you put in. And there's a really amazing token economic model behind Commonwealth. It's something that we've been working on for like a year and a half. It's brilliant. It's the best one I've ever seen. And I'm very biased, of course, but like I also challenge anyone to find a better one. And it's, this idea was validated when Master Ventures launched our LP fund. We had, my community has always been quite small, like my Twitter, my YouTube compared to other people, and it was even smaller when we launched the fund, at the end or when we first announced it at the end of 2021, when we were still in a bull market. I made one video and one tweet and said, hey guys, Master Ventures is launching an LP fund. If you're interested, there's two stipulations. One, you can't be American. Two, $100,000 minimum. We had over $60 million of interest come into the Google form. It was just retail investors from my community. Knows nothing like that. I don't know, that video must have maybe had 3,000 views or something, right? And so that was validation, knowing that a lot of these people who are making money in the market would rather give their money to somebody who knows that they're going to be able to manage it better than them. And when you get access to early stage deals, it's way less risky. Not always, but generally it's less risky than playing the secondary market. Secondary market, it's volatile, but when you're getting in at many multiples cheaper than the first opportunity of the secondary market, that's just mathematically a better opportunity. And so Commonwealth has I don't need to go over the entire thing on this, but it's a really clever structure where, there's a council of sophisticated, experienced, successful investors who are bringing deals into Commonwealth and the different funds. And then everything has checks and balances built in to make sure that no one party is controlling anything, that no one's manipulating anything, that no one's, and this is something that we thought about very carefully on how to design the entire system. It's really, really, really advanced. And there's really cool things like once you invest into a fund in stablecoin, you get an NFT as your receipt of the investment, and that's your share ownership of the fund. But you can fractionalize that and sell a portion of it to somebody else if you want to exit a portion of your position. That makes a lot of sense, right? Because imagine that $1 million fund opens up in Commonwealth, and I go put $10,000 into it. I've got 1% of the fund. And let's say there's, the $1 million fund closes in a couple of days, but all of a sudden now the fund gets allocation for the next SUI or Aptos or WorldCoin. And now everyone's like, oh man, I wish I could have gotten that fund. But if you're holding your $10,000 investment is probably worth now 30, 40, 50,000, fractionalize your NFT, sell a portion of it on the secondary market, make your initial investment back, and you still have a portion of your skin in the game in the fund, right? And you just got to exit a long-term fund in a short amount of time, break even, which is not possible today. Most funds, like in the traditional world, are 8 to 10 years, and there's no chance of exiting in.
Yeah, I saw it. You either get charged or you're not allowed to withdraw your capital. So that's very smart. Even I didn't realize. I thought that Commonwealth was going to be kind of like a launch pad for different projects. Well, I didn't look at it from that perspective, where it is actually the equivalent of investing into a fund. But because it's decentralized and it's going to run autonomously, first of all, it's legal. So a legal entity can't sue it or anything like that because it runs automatically. And second of all, it allows opportunity to normal people, because I felt that way before as well. I went to Barcelona and I was playing in the poker millions. I was just playing 5K entries and just playing poker because I wanted to. And I hit this weird mindset where I just was like, I was playing the game and I was like, hold on a second. There's nothing I can win here that I couldn't win 100 times more in the VC world. And I was looking around, and I looked around the room and I was like, hold on a second, nobody's got this type of opportunity like I have with the deal flow. Like if I invest 10K into 5 different projects, I know I'm at least making my 50 grand back minimum. But a normal investment, you can't do that, and you don't have the opportunity to make 50 or 100x. And most importantly, the cap in any type of economy to be a actual investor, seasoned investor, is you have to have 100 grand. And you also have to display that legally as a portfolio. So they don't want normal people to win. They don't want normal people to 10x or 100x to invest into some of these companies which run the world today. But having the ability to invest $5 and the entry fee be so low, it does release like a lot of opportunity to the average person.
And we want so we really are, for Commonwealth, like the name says it all. We want it to be, and then we have this, the whole branding within Commonwealth is, all streets, not Wall Street. Like Wall Street literally puts up a wall and says, hey, if you ain't rich, you can't come here, right? And Commonwealth is breaking down that wall, and it's inclusive for everybody. It's all street. And that, I think, is going to be really powerful because, why people are going to want the best deals and projects in the world are going to want Commonwealth on the cap table as an investor, because you're going to have initially thousands and then 10,000s and then hundreds of thousands, and probably one day millions of the people that are part of Commonwealth, just like the Wall Street bets movement, and it's going to take off like wildfire because it's going to be this huge community. And every time that Commonwealth invests into a project, every single person holding that wealth token has a vested interest in seeing that project succeed, even if they're not directly invested in the fund themselves. There's going to be a lot of people who are holding wealth tokens, speculating on it, or participating in the DAO that maybe don't have direct investment into a fund who got the direct allocation to that deal. But because the success fee, the carry fee, or that the Commonwealth charges the investors who invest in the fund, that goes back directly into the token economy, which boosts the value of the token, which means everybody has vested interest to succeed. So you're going to have this wild, crazy, fanatical community that's going to give these projects a spotlight. And so it works really well for all parties involved. It's a nice, like, symbiotic type of agreement that people have between the council who propose the deals, who also probably invest in the projects themselves, and then the investors in Commonwealth.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there's a saying where it's like all people working for themselves is better than like everybody trying to win. Now, I think it was from one of those movies about like a polymath, and he was trying to figure out game theory, and he realized that if everybody just works for themselves and does the best thing for themselves, it's going to be the best for the team. So in a crypto project, everybody's like, if I do this, it's going to make me money, then they're all going to do the same thing, which eventually is going to obviously pump the whole community like wildfire. So yeah, I completely understand that.
That's why what you just said is exactly why DAOs with amazing token economic models are so powerful, because of that exact psychology. It's individuals who have the ability to clock in, clock out whenever they want to do work, and in doing work for themselves will likely benefit them directly, but in a whole will benefit everybody, the entire community. And this is the most powerful thing about understanding token economics and how DAOs will play a big role, and why Commonwealth will probably do extremely well because of that's idea. That is game theory. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So look, we'll wrap it up there. Because I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you got a lot of things going on. So where can people find you?
Yeah, man. On Twitter is a good place. YouTube, Twitter is Kyle_Chasse. YouTube is Kyle Chasse. That's CHASSE. That's where I'm hanging out. I guess Twitter is called X now. And yeah, I talk about crypto, and I'm now going into a bit more on kind of biohacking, longevity, health, kind of fitness, things like that as well. But mostly markets, crypto and innovation, stuff like that. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Amazing, bro. Amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time. And if you want to see Kyle again on the channel, you guys already know, make sure that you do comment and go run up his comments as well. Because if you want to get in early, you need to follow people early as well. And Kyle's going to give you all the tips and tricks. So thank you, bro.
Thanks, Ben. See ya.
For that.
Bye, everybody.